Back on the Rob Dibble Show. Michael Johnson Jr., Nick Federico, the wonderful Dolly Parton passed away yesterday. She had some cancer, and her family put out a beautiful message, and there's been nothing but so many different people that came in contact with her over her lifetime, over 60 years of entertainment of Dolly Parton, one of the greatest songwriters to ever live. The huge Whitney Houston song that basically Dolly Parton sang. Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston and the people from The Bodyguard wanted to use the song in their movie. And she said, go ahead. She didn't even hear it. And then when she heard Whitney Houston sing her song, she said, that's Whitney Houston's song. That's no longer my song anymore.
What a great person.
Yeah, and she did. And listen, she wrote songs for Motley Crue. She wrote songs for the Beatles. She wrote songs for everybody. There's a great. I told you this yesterday. Go on YouTube. She goes on Johnny Carson, and basically, you know, they talk about rappers and, you know, just what do they call it? Freestyling.
Yeah.
She just freestyles a song.
Yeah.
She just made up a song and wrote it probably the night before she came on and sang it in front of a national audience. And basically saying how wonderful Johnny Carson and the Tonight Show was to Dolly Parton. Now, there's other things about Dolly Parton that you should go and look about her life story, because there's so many things. She gave away $500 million to charities over many years. She gave away different scholarships. She gave away books to schools.
Great person.
The people in North Carolina that were affected by the floods and the hurricanes, she started paying them out of her pocket, like, you know, $1,000 here, $1,000 here to pay bills and stuff like that. And the foundation that she started, or the whatever account that she started, had so much extra money that she was able to give every family $5,000 checks.
That's nice.
And then she set up a scholarship fund and put like $3 million of her own money in it. I mean, that was Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton took care of everybody she could over the span of her lifetime, and was such a great role model for the rest of us. If we could do 1% of what Dolly Parton did for each other, it'd be such a much better world out there.
It really would be, Rob, and it's well said. Great person, lived a great life, and I think more people, especially of the celebrity status, should take notes about how Dolly Parton went about her life. Giving back, being a good character person, right? I mean, that's how it is. And we know as Cowboys fans, she had a few stints with the Dallas Cowboys from time to time, right?
Oh my God. Well, all right. So just like there's one really funny one. It's with Michael Strahan and Kelly Ripa. My wife showed me the interview this morning, and Dolly Parton's on, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna do like this, you know, speed question round thing." So, you know, they're like, you know, near the end, they're like, "Are they real?" And she's like, of course they're not real. They're my nails. And she just, like, she would always, you know, make a joke about one thing or another.
Yeah.
And
you know what she's doing. It's funny. Yeah.
So they estimate she gave $600 million away throughout her lifetime. Childhood literacy, educational advancement, medical research, and disaster relief. But you know, her philanthropy was unbelievable and unmatched by many. And yet, there's some billionaires that give away more money, but that's they should. And I'm not telling them how to give away their own money. What I'm saying is Dolly Parton did it because she's a good and great person.
Yeah,
and absolutely amazing. Some of the stuff that she did. One of my favorite stories, because I'm a dog lover, is she gave her husband a little, I think, a Yorkshire Terrier. And the Yorkshire Terrier, when it passed, her husband was so distraught, they ended up like putting the dog in a coffin. They buried the dog under the bedroom window near their mansion, and then put like a fence and stuff around it that's still there to this day.
No.
So yeah, I mean, it's just everything she did was because she was just such a normal human, and such a good human. So that's why I don't think there's anybody that could say a bad word about Dolly Parton now that she's passed.
That's hard.
Yeah.
For a lot of these celebrities that go, that's hard. I mean, people out there have something to say about you and your legacy, whether it was a player, coach, athlete, musician, in this case for Dolly Parton. But, she was one of those, right? I mean, that just went
She was hot. I mean, even when she was 80, she looked like she was 30.
Yeah, I mean,
going back to, so you guys are too young to remember this, but the movie 9 to 5, the British Army or whatever, those guys in those big hats that they wear, those Grand Poobah hats that they wear over there, they were playing 9 to 5 today.
Yeah,
wow.
everywhere.
Their band
all
was
over.
playing 9 to 5 today, and honestly, it brought me to tears. It's because somebody that means that much to the world. And I was actually going to ask you guys this yesterday in our one more thing part of the end of the show, and I'll do it here. Who in your life that has died, like celebrity wise, that if they walked in the room, that they would be like, they would light up the room. Like for me, in my lifetime, like meeting people, and I didn't get to meet him, but I would have loved to have met him, was John Wayne.
Okay.
Wow, my grandpa loved John Wayne.
Yeah, or like even Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood just said he's retiring after 60 years of being in movies, directing. He's just been an amazing entertainer. But the guy was also like the mayor of a town and has done other ridiculous stuff in his life. Has been so amazing over the course of his life. But yeah, like a guy like Clint Eastwood. Got people like that, when they pass away, stuff like that. I know even way a long time, like a James Dean, some of these people that were like icons and stuff like that passed away through. I mean, it's like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison from The Doors, all died at 27.
Yeah, I've read into that. Yeah, same age type of deal with dying at 27, which is interesting when you read about it. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, not for now, but. I don't know, Nick. Celebrities, to Rob's question, that have died recently or of our generation.
Since we've been born.
Since you've been born.
The first one that comes to mind, and I was still young at the time, but Michael Jackson.
Oh,
I remember I was on family vacation in Cape Cod.
Great.
Just an iconic
Yeah, we're in the hotel room.
I was
and
living in LA when he passed. 50 years old. How could you not love Michael Jackson?
King of pop.
Yep.
Influenced pretty much the entire music industry as we know it today.
I grew up with him when he was in the Jackson 5, and I remember him on all the. See, you guys are too young to remember. Like there were so many more really, really good entertainment shows.
Yeah.
Not, and I'm not going as far back as like Ed Sullivan, but there was like the Mike Douglas show, the Phil Griffin show, a bunch of other shows like Phil Donahue, obviously Oprah, but when the Jackson 5 were going on a bunch of these shows, even like Dick Clark's Saturday show or Casey Kasem's Top 40 and stuff like that, when these guys were on television and stuff like that, you were like amazed when Michael Jackson was like 10. Had this big afro, unbelievable singer, dancer, with his brothers. And it just absolutely floored you. Then you would have like the Osmonds. Then you would have and then this is before boy bands became boy bands. Yeah. Then you had like, NSYNC and, Backstreet Boys and all the other ones, stuff like that in like the 80s and 90s. But when I was a kid and I saw other kids, I'm telling you, it was inspirational.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson inspired countless tens of thousands of maybe even millions of people to do different things because of what he did from being a little kid. I think he was 5 years old when he started and right up until he passed away.
Well, music's a lot like sports. It connects a lot of people and brings a lot of people together too. I mean, just pulling up it's kind of more of a generic list of famous celebrities kind of died the last decade. Prince would be one for a lot of people, right? For the Star Wars fans, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
I think right. As Prince was like, you know what? Who's one for Marvel? Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Black Panther. Yeah.
Young too. Obviously.
Were you guys around when Princess died?
No, that was before.
Yeah, when Princess Diana died was huge.
Yeah,
on
that
the
was
planet.
a big one. Yeah,
I've heard about it.
To have that big of an impact.
Right.
Robin Williams was a big one for my generation.
Yeah, well, I think it was because of how sudden it was too.
Yeah,
and everything that surrounding it too. There's a lot. There's athletes, right? That pass. Jerry West. I mean, the logo guys that are absolute, legends of the game, and again, not many people have bad things to say about you. there's others too, but Dolly Parton kind of brings that back. Another iconic celebrity, gone too soon too. She was only 80.
Yeah.
Tough.
And the name is I Will Always Love You was the song that Whitney Houston made her own, but that was a Dolly Parton song, and Whitney Houston passing away.
Yeah.
She died at 48.
Way too young. One of the most beautiful voices ever.
Amy Van Dyken and we went to the Hollywood Hotel and went to the room where she passed away. Because
Really?
Amy wanted to go see it.
Wow.
That's how much Whitney meant to her. She's a 6-time gold medalist that I used to work with. Amy Van Dyken, wonderful person. But for me, Patrick Swayze.
Oh.
Okay.
Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse, Dirty Dancing, Red Dawn, a whole bunch of other movies that I grew up watching him in. Really, really good actor. But I just always thought, man, this guy he'd be cool to have a beer with.
Oh, I bet.
I think he could, if he had been a baseball player, he would have been cool on our team.
Probably. And he's
bet.
probably a good athlete, too. And
Oh,
he probably
yeah,
could fit right in with that. Yeah. I mean, and then you think of like the celebrities that are still alive when they're gone. There's just a really long list, I think, of them as well, like a Tom Cruise, like these guys that are just generational actors that have been in so many movies,
James Gandolfi.
Gandolfini.
Yeah, Sopranos.
Yeah, it's a
Tony
good one.
Soprano.
Sudden, too.
I think he was like 50, 51.
Yeah.
51.
One of the greatest,
Shocking.
most famous shows of
But
TV
there's
history.
not a time where I can't turn on Sopranos or when it's on and watch it and be like, oh my God, what a great actor. And when,
He plays.
larger than
You want to talk
life.
about playing a role so it's one of the greatest acting performances ever.
Well, to where wise guys were upset.
Yes.
They thought that he was too good at being a wise guy.
Oh, he's the best at it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, and he played that character so he could be the gentle giant, and then you're like, oh, this guy could kill you like right, at any second, or whack you, as they would say in the show. So, yeah, there's a lot of. I'm trying to think of some other athletes, Nick, in our generation. It's hard off the top of my head that have.
Yeah, there's been some
Former
in, like,
ones that have
in
passed during our
Major
generation.
League Baseball. Like I remember, what was it? Fernandez with the Marlins.
God, if you want to go
That
there,
was-
I mean,
that was
I'll
awful.
just start with like
Arnold
sad
Palmer
ones.
was around the same
Mickey
time.
Mantle.
Oh, the
For
man,
you
yeah,
Yankee
yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle, he was battling liver disease, needed a new liver, got a new liver, and then he ended up passing away. And he was like, one of the things that he said, don't live your life like me.
Yes,
know,
he did.
don't-
Powerful words.
Yeah, but he was, listen.
But he did a lot of it
He
to
lived a
himself.
good life.
Oh, yeah.
He lived the way he wanted to live.
Well, yes,
I mean,
that is true.
Right?
Yeah.
Or,
Yes.
or Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Yep.
Muhammad Ali, for me in my lifetime, protested the Vietnam War, didn't want to go to war. They stripped him of his championship belt and came back. I mean, just some of the stuff that some of these athletes have proven to be amazing. Ted Williams for me. Ted Williams fought in two wars. One of the greatest baseball players ever. 99, I was there in Fenway on the field working for ESPN Radio. And I watched dozens of grown men bawl their eyes out
That's gotta
because
be-
of what he meant to them, the
Yeah.
sport, but also America. Great American.
Yeah.
Great person. And
Fought for our country. And he hit 406 in a season. I don't think that's ever going to be done in the history
definitely
of
not
the next
today.
100 plus years.
the way
Like,
things are going right now, if you hit 250, I'll be happy. I mean, right now, to see, all right, just, I'm just kind of busting chops, but Yordan Alvarez is hitting 323 with all the power numbers. I mean, that's the standard has been lowered. I didn't want to get into that with Paul O'Neill, but we're also going to have Jose Canseco on tomorrow, and we're going to have Wade Boggs on Friday.
good lineup.
And, I'm trying to get more of my friends to come on and just talk about things, and not to say, hey, we're old men
Cool
and
friends.
we want to yell. They're just guys that I looked up to when we played against each other. That in their way, they were taught the game. It had different importance, And I could go back to Joe DiMaggio and Yogi Berra's era because I've been studying this for 30 years.
Yeah.
The most I think Yogi ever struck out in a season was 39 times, and I think it was the same with Joe DiMaggio. And everything was under 40. Striking out in a season. So when you see guys striking out once every 4 at bats, that's awful. But that doesn't represent the game 50 years ago. It represents the game today.
Yeah.
That's the way they want to play it, and I'm fine with that. If you want to hit 220 or 200, I'm fine with that. I'm not here to be like, well, you should play it the way we played it, because we didn't play it the way they played it.
No.
We had very few guys. Like Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs were two of the few guys, and I think Boggsy sometimes was closer to 100 strikeouts than Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn would never strike out 50 times in a season. That was the way he wanted to play it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of back to the Mickey Mantle, like living your life how you wanted to live your life, and Mickey Mantle certainly did that.
And Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio was married to Marilyn Monroe, who at the time was the biggest. She was bigger than Dolly Parton worldwide.
Marilyn Monroe, when she was alive, was like the premier woman, like in all of the media and pop culture and what have you. But yeah, Mickey Mantle, all those old Yankees, like the baseball, like when Babe Ruth passed. Think about that generation, like a player like that that's still being talked about like 100 years later. Like those are the people that just, if you can transcend decades.
Well, athletes for me, I mean, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell
doesn't get talked about enough. Hank Aaron doesn't get talked about enough.
No.
I was a very young kid in 72 when Jackie Robinson passed, but my dad told me about him. That's the way a lot of these athletes should be. Whether you're black, white, red, or all over, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you make an impact in someone's life, it should be taught in school, should be in the history books. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that should be going on right now.
Yeah, it's true.
We've gotten away from a lot of that kind of stuff.
Know more about the history of our sports is important, right? I mean, it is. I mean, that's how you remember. Like, also like the sport of baseball, because it goes way back. You want to know about these great players and all that they
they weren't all great people.
No,
I don't want to say that.
No,
not everybody. Even Pete
great
would have told you that Pete had his faults. Pete was on this show many, many times and other shows that I used to do on the MLB channel and stuff like that. In fact, the funniest thing is that Pete stayed on the line. My first, I think it was 2004, my first show on XM with Kevin Kennedy. The first guest was Jose Canseco, and this was during the steroid stuff and the era and all the things in Congress and all that stuff. And Pete Rose stayed on hold for the whole 20-minute interview of Jose so that he could come on and comment about Jose.
Shows you the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
Right there.
And he, and so for many, many years, Pete would be like, and here was the thing that I always said about Pete Rose. He could have helped more people not get into gambling with the lessons he could have taught. And they didn't, and MLB did not want to use him.
Why not go directly to the source? Someone who I get it. I you can see both sides. It can be a slippery slope. I understand that, but as someone who's suffered from it and done it, that Pete Rose,
he was gambling up until the day he died.
He could have been a great advocate for hey, like Mickey Mantle, don't live like I did, or Pete, don't make the same mistakes that I did.
Exactly.
And corrupting myself and others for a couple bad choices. Yeah, I agree. But this has led to like a good conversation because. That's the unfortunate thing with death and when someone passes. You remember the good memories and stuff, but like a celebrity, you just think of others. It's like, oh man, I can't believe like the end of the year thing. Like I forgot we lost all these people this year.
Oh my God, it's an unbelievable list.
Yeah.
Of how many amazing celebrities that we've lost. But you look at that list; they're not all great people.
No,
not like Dolly. Dolly was a different level, and I think everybody knew that.
Dolly was a doll, right?
Yeah.
Dolly
Parton was amazing.
Yeah. May she rest in peace, for sure.
Definitely.
Nick, how many more people?
I'm thinking the first one that we left out just a couple years ago, we lost Pele, Brazilian superstar, one of the faces of international soccer.
Wow.
Most people, if you ask the casual soccer or football fan who's the best player of all time or one of the pillars of that sport, it's Pele.
Yeah.
Passed away 2 years ago, the youngest ever World Cup winner at 17 years of age in 1958, youngest ever World Cup goal scorer, Brazil's all-time leading international scorer. He's the only player ever in the history of the sport to win the World Cup trophy 3 different times. From 1958 to 1970, he won it 3 different times with Team Brazil.
When Pele came here in the 80s,
good pull.
And well before you guys were born, he changed the landscape of soccer as we know it in this country.
Yeah. He was that powerful and influential.
But worldwide, he was a peaceful man. He was all about peace and things like that. And it was a lot like Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Where, there's a lot on your plate, yet you're willing to go out there and, like I said, like with Muhammad Ali, it made other generations think about how much they should give back. And I think that's what we learned from Dolly Parton, that we all need to give something back.